Hey, how y'all doing? So I got this fire here that I downloaded from uh, from Google. I search fire PNG and I tell it to give me a large one so that it's got a decent resolution. Now what I need to do is load that into my photo editor so I can crop it correctly. And this will be the image used for the fire thing. So we'll pull that into here. It needs to be power of 2, which is close enough, but you still got to have it power of 2. I'm going to make that only 1024. I'm not going to. I guess you could do 2048. That's the closest power of 2. If you're not sure, power of 2 is any resolution that's 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096, 8192, and 16384 by any of those resolutions. I have an artwork thingy that I can show you that illustrates it better. If you're not familiar with Power 2, so those are your Power of 2 resolutions. Any one of those by any one of those. 16384 is the highest game supports for textures. Alright, so I got our fire in here, we're going to scale it. And it's important that it's got the transparent background, of course. Now, we got to put this, we got to have a folder set up in our user folder. So go to your user folder. If you don't already have one, make a folder called art. And inside of it, make a folder called shapes. And inside of it, make a folder called particles. And this is where you save your images. So just put it in there for now. You can use DDS if you want. You don't have to use PNG. Um, but pick the right compression if you use DDS. Use BC3 for transparencies, BC5 for normal maps, or BC1 for all other. DDS perform better because they don't have to go through your CPU. The GPU gets DDS immediately, and it's a lot better on their performance. So this would be BC3. As I said, if you're making normal maps, BC5 or BC1 for non-transparency stuff. But BC3 and generate maps. Maps is it like how it scales it so that when it's smaller, it looks good small. It doesn't look weird, like pixelated. It just basically redraws it, resamples it basically multiple times over different distances. So in our level, we're going to ignore this. What we're going to do is open up a particle editor. It's going to show us a preview particle. It's not actually the particle that we're playing with. Go to the emitter here and pick particle, say, I don't know, 27 is a fire. It was a fire. 26. 28. I'll use 28. So go to the particle and in texture name, pick that new texture. If you want to change any of the artwork, that is. You don't have to do that. It's only if you want a different picture for the art, for the fire. I like to try different things, so I've got something a little different. Art shapes, particles. I say fire, ring fire. Fire for ring. What do I call it? Yeah, fire for ring. Now to see it without any glow or anything, you go back to the emitter and you can tell it to just show you normal. That's without any glow. It's going to still be vibrant, you know, of course, but uh, the particle is where the colors are set. Having it white would be the original color. But since the particle draws pretty much, we put it in slow motion and we give it a lot longer ejection pause in between each one, so it just basically fires less often. You get to see the entire cycle of a particle's life, which that thing's life is 1274 right now with a 22 millisecond variance. We make that 0. So what you're seeing here, I'll speed it up a bit. What you're seeing here is a particle being drawn 4 times and then it restarts. Each time can happen, it can have different sizes. So like we'll make these small or invisible. So you got the first one here. Let me get the times right too so that they're more evenly spaced out. So that's the first one. And it'll repeat. It'll repeat. It'll keep repeating. And then you got the second one that comes after that one. You can make that a different size. And then you got the third one. And then you got the last one. Oh, I forgot about the alpha. The alpha is how clear it is, how much you can see through it. 0 being completely see-throughable, 255 being the most opaque. 0 being most translucent, 255 being the most opaque. Each one can have a different color. Now keep in mind it's going to only mix that color with the color that's here. So putting blue would make it kind of a green, right? But I use this sometimes just to tint things different colors, depending on what I'm trying to do. There's not much you can't do with them. My time's getting messed up. I did just set these damn things. I thought that's why I wasn't looking. That's why I wasn't looking right. I think what I did is I put size in. I think I screwed it up like that. I'm sure it was. This is drag, and it does exactly what it says. It drags. It makes it drag. And this is the gravity coefficient. Minus is up, plus is down. And as you can see, that particle is just cycling 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see now what it does. Put this at 0. Now, the direction that it emits, that's the theta minimum, theta maximum. Both theta minimum and theta maximum are at 0. The way I can explain this easier is to show you a video of a clock. Looking at the clock with both hands, pretend one hand is called theta minimum and the other is called theta maximum. Both of them pointing to 12 o'clock. They both fire only straight up, as you've seen in the game here. All right, give me a minute. So the way you tell it, the direction is by numbers. 0 is straight up, 180 is straight down, 90 would be well the way across. So we play this, and we said, all right, make them do that. The theta maximum would need to be 90. Now be sure you're looking at the right angle. You want to make that come out as much as possible. Be sure you're at the right angle, right? So it's easier to see what it's doing. So shooting straight up, 12 o'clock is 0. Shooting 90 is across. Shooting 180, like as in here, would be 12 and 6. If you were to stop it there, it'd be 90 and 180. Oops, it won't do that. 90 and 180. If you wanted to shoot straight down, they'd both be at 180. Now keep in mind, you also got the gravity that's working with this. The best way to check it is with 0 gravity set. That way you see exactly what's going on what. But I don't keep it on there. I try to use it some, but I'd rather see. Now look at this. Say you made a copy of the clock and you turned it this way so that you had 2 clocks, one looking down and one looking out. So we'd have to go to a top view to do this next example. This is the only other thing you got to have to see here. We'll go back to our fire and look at it straight down. Unpause it. Put the speed back like it's supposed to be. Oh, it's shooting straight down. That's right. You want to make it 0 and 180 for what we're about to do. So it's like that. 0 and 180. Then go to the top and look down at it. Now you got this field velocity. What that does, it's like if you were one of those little arms and you went around in a 360-degree circle. The number is how fast it does it up to 360. Imagine you being a person holding a water sprinkler, the kind that go like a fan, for watering lawns. And you're looking down at the top of your head and you're holding one of those and you're just spinning in a circle. That's exactly what that is. The field variance up to 360 would be like if there's 360 of you all looking out at your own direction at one time. So looking at it from any way, any direction, anywhere, it's going to look like a ball. It's going to have the particles shooting out pretty much everywhere like a ball. Now the only way to make the fire look kind of like it's on a ring is to use the offset. The offset starts it off farther from the center. However many meters you set it. Now to make it look more like fire. me check my gravity. Did I turn it back on? I don't remember. If you ever lose focus of it and you know you didn't save it yet, you should be able to pull it back up the same number you were messing with. So like the 20s and the early 30s are fire. So I got a complete list of all of them. But when you do find what you want, be sure to hit save to file and not save to level, because saving to level doesn't save the right ones. It does something crazy with the ones that are in the data blocks that are in a different place. It doesn't do right. Just don't do it. Save it to the file. That's going to save any change you do only to the user folder. You can always delete that if you want to go back to how they're supposed to be. Blend style, normal is, well, without any glow. Additive is if it's got glow like regular fire. Subtractive and pre-multiply alpha do a little something different, and not set does something a little different depending on what's the background, if it's transparent or not. It does. I don't think you're supposed to even use that one. So let's get this thing looking better. So it needs the gravity to be pulling it up. That much I know. So going minus goes up, goes plus goes down. Drag. Well, that's exactly what it means. It means to drag it up to 5. Then you got inherited velocity, but that only applies if it's moving, if something moves it, or if something hits it. Say a car runs into what's emitting the particle and it makes another particle. Well, the velocity of the car adds to the velocity that's already coming out. But you can use a multiplier up to 1.0 to make it be over exaggerated. Say a car runs into a pile of smoke in the air, right? A big ball of smoke. Well, it's not going to be the same things if like the car ran into like a ball of like foam balls or something where it just knocks them all to hell really fast. The foam would be less reactive, so that would be a lesser inherited velocity. Constant acceleration, well, to explain that, you got to understand the lifetime. The lifetime is how long that particle's got to live. Remember, it goes 4 pictures, right? Well, this is how long each picture has to live, well, all 4 combined. The longer the lifetime in milliseconds, the longer that particle will take to cycle through the 4 stages. So you also have a variation of that, where maybe some have shorter lives than others. With fire, having different ones at different times kind of gives it more of a randomness to it. So that's the lifetime. So depending on where the gravity's going or how much drag it's got, depends on how far it's going to go before it comes to its demise, it ends. And speaking of end, when you want it to end, if you want it to end smoothly, you need to either make the last size 0 or make the color of the alpha channel, this is the alpha by the way, the last one, 0. That way it fades out if it's not going to shrink out. If you don't have it set, it's going to look like that. So one's got to be either small to invisible, and the other, depends on what you're doing. But with this, I think that would be best to have it do like that. So the constant acceleration, what that is whatever it's already doing. Imagine a little boat in the water with a motor on it, and it just goes one direction. It'll just keep going and going like it's got unlimited gas. That's what constant acceleration will do. It'll make it pretty much, in addition to the escape velocity, it'll have like a motor attached to it to make it move even more. You can go negative for some weird stuff, but I usually don't mess with this a whole lot. It's not one I usually mess with because it's kind of artificial in the way that the particle just keeps going forever. Well, until its lifetime runs out. Spin. You know what spin is? Spin is how much it spins. We turn the drag on. See a little better. You got a minus and you got a plus 360. If they're both the same, they're going to all spin the same direction. Let's slow it down a bit. And let's spread these out a bit. There's not as many emitting. So you can see they all spin in the same direction. If this is 0 and 0, they're not going to spin. Or they shouldn't spin, no matter what this is. If that ain't set to anything, it still ain't going to spin. But if you want them to go both directions, you go minus on one. And it's how many degrees that like it'll spin in a complete circle or not, but also how fast it'll go. This will make them go both directions. If you got a whole lot on there, a whole lot the other way, it's going to be pretty crazy. Then you got the spin speed on top of that. But for fire, I just put a little bit one way, a little bit the other way, and give it a little spin. Not too much. Not that much drag either. But you don't want it to also take off like that. So that's where gravity comes in. You got to balance. Well, how much gravity do you want to give it? How much drag do you want to give it? If you want to do like a puff of smoke that just lingers around for a while, you wouldn't use any gravity or very little. And it would just hover around in one spot until it dissipates. I'm gonna put this back to a reasonable number. We don't want any variation. Well, we don't want too much variation. Let's do about half or a quarter. Let's get us back to looking like a ring. So what I think is have it start kind of small. Let's get the times equal, or as close to equal as possible. Start small, then kind of get bigger than small again, or some variation of that. Turn the glow back on. And the offset is how many meters, if I didn't say already, away from the center that they all start to draw. Now you're still seeing them through it because, well, this is a ball. You're going to see it like that. Unless you don't. Yeah, I don't think there's any way not to have it like that. Maybe 180 and 180, but you're still going to be like that. You're still going to get them in the middle, but not on the backside too, if you did it that way. Ejection velocity is pretty obvious. It's the velocity that it's escaping from the emitter. You can have a variation of that too. You also can have a variation in the offset. If you wanted some to be farther out, some to be closer in, you would just use them both. I mean, you can only do so much with it. If you add an additional thing like smoke to it, oh yeah, save to file. Now, if you do the same thing with the smoke and layer them together, it'll look more realistic. I'll duplicate it, and then the other one, I'll pick a smoke. Sometimes there's a bug, you won't see your particle in here. unless you go to show complete scene tree. I don't know why it does it, but when it does do that, it doesn't save them right either. So the other one will make a smoke. I think the 30s are the smoke, starting with like 32. I mean, I got the whole list I can give you, but we'll do something similar with it. I'll look off to the side so we're not looking directly at it. Pull up our particle preview. All right, that's just steam. Yeah, what's that one? Steam. Let me look at the list. I can't remember. I've been making my own. I haven't been using the ones from them as much. So here's like the ones I did. The ones that come with the game are these. So yeah, here they go. Smoke black, smoke white. Number 6, number 7, number 7. Yeah, volcano smoke. That's the one that's heavy on the GPU. But you can make that faster. Number 60 is number 60. I'll show you how to do it. Because all these are by default set to highest quality possible. So you uncheck high res only. Oh, I would have meant the wrong thing. Uncheck high res only. It won't look as good, but it's a lot better on your performance. It ain't making a difference with me. I'm not maxed out yet or anything. That took a little bit of a hit, I'd say. But 70, 80 frames per second. High res only. Turn that off. Now look where my particles, my frame rate went back up to. It went up a little bit, but it didn't quite recover. If you're having problems with your particles, it's too thick. You got to change the ejection millisecond so that every millisecond one's not coming out, but maybe every second, like every few seconds, you just move this higher. So when they come out, they'll come out more spaced out, and it can be such a hit on your performance. You can even have higher resolution as long as a lot of them ain't coming out. Also, keep in mind, not only do they um, come out like that, you also got to consider how large they are, because very large, up to 50 meters across, that makes all kinds of slowdown. Because if you're GPU limited, I ain't having a problem with it for some reason. Why is that? I don't know. Usually, I would bring my system to a crawl. Oh, they're almost invisible. Well, that'd be why. Oh, no, actually, didn't make much of a difference. All right, let me make sure that's the same set to the same. I said number, what, number 60, number 60. So you can see a real-time preview of what that's doing in addition to as you're editing it. Because not always, they're going to always be exactly the same. It shows you the offset, by the way, when you move it. Oh yeah, keep in mind if you got high res only off, it's going to cut them short. I forgot about that. See, it don't matter. It's not paying attention to the lifetime. So I got to readjust that. I'd say use less more often to get better performance than to try to make it not high res because it does look like it doesn't look good. Really quick, sure what color smoke is. I think it's like black, and sometimes it's like tinted with the color of fire somewhere in the smoke, like a reddish color. Oh, damn it. Hold on a minute. Yeah. Hey. Now? Uh, all right. Give me a minute. All right. Bye. Well, hell, I think y'all got the idea anyway, folks. I mean, because I'll sit here all damn night playing with this till I get it exactly like I want it. But I thought one of these, you can tell which one to be in the front, which one to be in the back. Maybe you can't, other than move it physically behind the other one. I think it's the only way you're going to get it to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which one you'd do for that. I'd have to play with all the settings until I kind of figured it out. I forgot you can't rotate them much. Guess you gotta make one lighter than the other. Yeah, that kind of work. Well, y'all tell me, what do y'all think? Oh yeah, that woman's waiting on me. Shit, let me go do that.